Welcome back to the shop. So this piece of African mahogany and African wenge needs to be spruced up a little bit. Alright. One of the ways that we do that is we add some keys through here. Alright. And actually, I'll show you a quick example of what I'm talking about. Now, this puppy's not sanded, so don't judge it. This one's a custom job. Really don't want to show it off just yet. I have not sanded this or anything. This is really what it's going to add for detail. And making the most of your exotic scraps are what really help save the forest, so to speak, because we don't want to waste exotic scraps. You know, I find where I have, like a 6-inch piece that I really can't do anything with. And so I save them for keys. All right, and when you cut them out, it's going to look like that. A big one, like that. All right, now, this is not overcomplicated. The jig is easy for you to build. First off, I'm going to show you that the way to properly do this is to cut the lid off first. Now, as you notice, I have a clamp on there, had an overall measurement, and so what I did was I measured the center. All right, and then we're going to have a key there. I came in approximately 1 1/4, have a key there, 1 1/4, have a key there. And then I think this is a 3-inch and a 3-inch. It'll match up real nice. So that's kind of where we're at. And so if you notice, my pencil marks go all the way up here. And it's taped. The reason why it's taped is, for one, pencil really sucks to sand out. For two, I really want this to be a nice heirloom piece, and it's gonna prevent the tear out on the Spanish cedar itself. It's gonna the mahogany. It's gonna minimize that tear out. So we gotta unclamp her. All right. Just wanted to show you how I did that. Of course, I used a square. All right. Now here's where it can get confusing. When you're running this through, I will show you my sled. Get this out of the way for a second. All right, I built this. It runs smooth. Okay. Now if I want to work on this side, because maybe it's an oversized box, I can work on this side. Put my own T-tracks in there. This thing was super cheap to build. It's all out of scraps. They even have hold downs built into it. Should you need to actually hold down a piece because you're getting too much chatter because it's a hard wood. Now, one thing you never want to do is cut too far into the board itself. So you take a scrap board that is almost the same thickness, and we're going to run it through there and make sure that we don't penetrate the other side, because the whole idea of this is it reinforces the miter and adds some decoration. So I mean, we've got some basic, and I'm not going to turn on dust collection because it really, and as you can see, it runs through the blade. Now the cool part is that this is super simple. Never forget, there's a reason why I draw 2 lines. Never forget, even because it's a dado blade, it still cuts just like a normal blade, except it cuts a little bit more off. So you have the 2 lines. You make sure the one is even with that saw blade, and you're good to go. It's not overcomplicated. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. So is what I'm going to do right now And by the way, this is fully adjustable so that I can make sure that that stays adjusted. All right, now I think I'm too high. Let's start out lower. And to be honest, I need to find a scrap real quick that already has a miter cut on it. But I don't know. I think I burned through them all. It won't matter. So first, we're going to make sure, I'm going to take that down just a hair. And as you can see, it slides really easily. And when you're pushing it through, you really just want to hold that box firm. Use one hand. There's a reason why there's a full guard on this, a secondary fence. All right, and you're just going to slide it through, slide it back through. Okay, it's so super simple. All right, fire this puppy up. Now, see how we penetrated that? I'm going to take it down a notch. Set it a little further over. Now we're right on it. And that is pretty doggone close to where we want to be. Plus, you've got to think the miter itself is just a hair longer. So, we're going to go ahead and test out one more piece with the miter. I've got one sitting right over here. It's actually my last test piece I did. That's what I'm going to do. We got plenty of room on that base to go back up. I knew better than to use that board. Still have plenty of gap before we get through that miter. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take it up, turn it in half. It's very important to remember that turn in half, because I pretty much blew through it a little bit. So now I just take it down. One revolution. That way we have a glue surface on the face. And you'll see what I'm talking about after we run a box through. First, I'm going to do that lid. And literally, it's all you got to do. Because you have your markings appropriately, you take that, just like that, you put it up against that mark, because I transferred the mark all the way through. So really is all I have to do. Super duper simple here. We're not gonna overcomplicate it. Then I'm gonna adjust this back fence that I made, and I'm literally going to snug it up. Then I'm going to push on it and make sure we don't have too much adjustment. And I'm going to show the process for these four sides. I'll speed up for the other one, but it's very important to watch how I rotate this piece. And we're still good on that line. We're going to rotate. We're not going to bring it back through. We're going to reset the saw. Going to bring it back over. Now notice I'm rotating exactly how it's supposed to be. If you get confused, then you're going to end up with the key way off center and you've done all this work for nothing. So, as you can see, the tape did its job for the most part. Minimized tear out. See if you notice right there, even with the tape, it wanted to tear out a little bit. But is what you have is a consecutive all the way around. Now, if you were to get backwards, say you have a distraction, then, and you flip that lid this way on accident, it stops. So, if you ever get interrupted while you're doing this, take the time, make sure it's relined up. It's easy to get, you know, there's always interruptions sometimes. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and super speed this other process up. And you'll see me adjusting this fence. I might break out this other fence, which I took T-track bolts, took a router with the T-track, so I didn't have to waste money on a T-track. If you want to know how I built this, I'll share that. If you want to see me build another one, I've used this thing for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. No, damn, it's got to be longer than that. Now, other places sell jigs. However, they are designed for small boxes. Trust me, I tried to do a larger box. Holy moly. It just does not work. There's too much. A router bit does a better job because there's no wobble. However, you can't use small jigs to do big projects. So, if you want to see me build this, it was super simple. I took framing squares, some scrap wood. I made these runners. I glued it right on top with the runners using the fence to make sure it was square. And then once that glue sat for a minute, I just stapled it in there. And then I started building this base. And it's super simple. I mean, it's literally, it's all out of scraps. If you notice, there's a screw here. Make sure you can see it. There's a screw here that is backed out. It is because, you know, whether or not it's moisture, there's another one there. I backed that out specifically to realign it in square. So, anywho, I'm going to get to work on this other side of the box and you can really see how it comes together. I'll throw a key in there and you can see how it's going to really spruce this bitch up. Sorry for my language.
Shorter, so I'll have to mill them. That might be for like an inlay that I did. This one's too, I see that one's going to fit in just right once I apply a little bit of pressure on it. But basically is what I'm going to do. I have an exotic off-fall that I just can't do anything with, and that's what I do with it. Run through a little jointer to get them to thickness. Now, as you can see, we minimized that tear out completely, almost, and they're all even, and now we can really spruce this up to where it's going to look even baller. And the cool thing is that a key miter actually reinforces not only decorationally, but it gives you another glue joint in which to hold this together to make it a stronger box overall. Now, if you want, please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. The more likes I get, the more it encourages me to do these videos. And, you know, I like to really dumb it down. This stuff is not complicated. So, if you want to see a jig build, and I'm not talking about where I literally show you all this stuff and super speed it, make it look so simple, and you miss half the parts or have to pause and figure out what the hell did that guy do there, I'll actually make a true video on how to do this. So just request that in the comments if you really want to, if I get enough people who want to see that. Nothing irritates me more than watching somebody build a jig, and then you watch the video, and then all of a sudden, they went from having this to like this. And it's like, whoa, what's the real process here? You're not more confused. That jig is not complicated. I built it to be not complicated. I do this stuff to be efficient. And I really like to do things that are not exactly what you can find out there. So, please take a second to hit that like button if you like it. Leave a comment if you feel like it. And to be honest with you, I'm open to criticism. I mean, we're all learning all the time. Let's face it, we don't know it all. And I'm not sponsored by a company. So, I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.
Get off there.